All right, so we are going to make this interlocking triangle today. And this is very similar to our first constructed drawing when we made our cubes. So how many points does this star have?
6.
Okay, Rosie, I'm concerned you cannot count. So can you count the star points for me out loud? This is a good way to start.
1, 2, 3.
Just for the audience, she actually came to 6-pointed star here, but you know it was pretty funny. All right, so everyone's gonna watch that and then turn the video off. All right, so here we go. And so if you remember the steps from the cube, then you are in good shape. However, I am going to ask that you follow along because I don't want you to do any unnecessary steps. So this drawing is going to start with a center, and yes, you want to be able to see your center point. And then we are going to draw a circle around your center point. Now, I will let you know when we are no longer drawing construction lines. So right now these are construction lines, and should construction lines be heavy or dark? Light. So construction lines should be light. Now, when you are doing your, Rosie's still laughing. All right, so when you are doing your circle, we want to remember that we are going to have to use this compass setting for our next step. So do not let the compass setting change. So now we have a center and we have a circle, and we're going to pair our center and a circle with a diameter. And so make sure you're using the ruler correctly. Put your pencil tip. Is there something I can help you with? Okay. So put your pencil tip at inside the hole that was created by your compass, and then slide your ruler up against your pencil, and that way you have a much better chance of being able to have a diameter be the actual diameter. And accuracy matters, so I'm going to make sure that my ruler is right at that compass tip. And so I'm going to tell you what, you're distracting me, guys. I need you to stop. So you're going to draw your diameter. So now we have a center, we have a circle, and we have our diameter. And without letting our compass point change, or our compass setting change, we are now going to place the compass point at the intersection of the diameter and the circle. And accuracy matters, so make sure your compass point is at that exact intersection point. Now we are going to draw two arcs that intersect the circle, one arc above the circle and one arc below the circle. So now we have a center, a circle, and a diameter. And now we're going to take our compass and we're going to perform the same steps, but this time putting the metal compass point at the intersection of the diameter and the circle on the other side of the circle. So there we go. So we put the metal compass point here. We're going to back out of this. And so here we go. So we have two more arcs. One arc, two arcs. And so now I have a center, I have a circle, I have a diameter, and I have four arcs, and the four arcs intersect the circle. And if I have done this correctly, if I measure, I will see that this arc right here is the same length as all of my other arcs. That's a good sign. So then I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to connect the intersection of the arc and the circle through the center. I'm going to zoom in because accuracy matters. So I want to make sure that ruler is right on there. There we go. And so now we're going to draw another two diameters. And are these heavy and dark, or are they light and thin? Light and thin. So there's one. And then I will do the exact same thing, connecting the other 2 points of arc and circle intersection. I will zoom in because accuracy is important, because few things in life can be perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. But these drawings can be perfect. And so I'm going to draw my second diameter. And if I've done everything correctly, I will have 3 diameters that all meet in 1 point. So right now I am pretty good. I'm going to pause the video as I check the classroom's progress to make sure we're all good, and then I'll restart it for the next steps. So everyone's doing pretty well. So the next thing that we're going to do is, it is pretty easy to see that in my example, the star, the 6-pointed star, where did it go, is oriented with the point, the top point and the bottom point oriented in a vertical manner. So where is my blue thingamajig? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate. Does anyone see? So I'm going to. Does anyone see a blue, like, circle-y thing?
What color blue? I see a lot of blues.
Yeah, I see a lot of blue, too.
What kind of blue? Is that all?
Well, oh, there it is. It's hidden behind there. Okay. All right. So I am not able to rotate my paper, so I'll have to rotate my drawing. So I'm putting, so this is the point that the drawing is going to rotate around, so I want to make sure it's in the middle. And so I'm going to rotate this so that I have one of the diameters vertical. And you are going to do the same thing. Now, obviously, it's a little bit easier for you, but, you know, whatever. Okay. So now we have our drawing oriented in a vertical manner. Almost vertical. There we go. That's going to be close enough. All right. So, and then the other thing that I'm going to do is I want to put this on the bottom layer so that the drawing, the stuff that I do next, will sit on top of it and won't be hidden underneath it. All right. So at this point, you will notice that this drawing here does not have a hexagon on the outside. Now, do you see a hexagon somewhere in this? Yes. Oh, in the middle, all right. But we do not need the outside hexagon, so we are not going to connect the points of intersection that are adjacent to each other. However, what we are going to do is we are going to connect points to create a little star. So I'm going to connect this point here, right here, to the gray and yellow intersection. Then I'm going to draw another point here. So now we have one light blue triangle. And I'm going to redo that because I want the blues and yellows to be facing the same way. So there's nothing like doing it a second time for everyone to see. So again, you're taking the point of intersection. If your triangle is not, if the triangle does not have the vertices on the circle, that is a problem. That is a huge red flag. So now we have one orange triangle, and that corresponds with this orange triangle that is pointing up. But I also need a triangle that is pointing down. So now I'm going to do the same thing with my other 3 points of intersection. And that is going to produce a triangle that is pointed down. So now I have a triangle. I have a little 6-pointed star. And it's pretty easy to see that the orange lines correspond with the outside of this orange triangle. Likewise, the blue lines clearly correspond with the outside of the blue triangle. But what we don't have is we don't have the inside edge of either the blue or the orange triangle. And so that is what we're going to have to flesh out. So the first thing I'm going to do is let's recognize that this point right here corresponds with this point here. So what 2 points of intersection will I connect so I can draw this inside edge of the orange triangle? Could someone raise their hand and tell me the colors that intersect that I want to connect? Lana? Orange and blue. Orange and blue. Blue and yellow. So blue and yellow, yes, for sure. Okay. So sometimes this board projects differently. So I can definitely see why the projection light looks green. If you're looking at this at home, you would definitely see gray. So that's just the way the bulb works, and that's okay. And so we're going to do that all the way around to create the inside edge of my orange triangle. Well, we are going to get the illusion of the triangles interlocking and weaving in and out of each other, we are going to have to do some erasing. So I would not make this crazy dark, knowing that we are going to have to erase segments of all the lines that we have drawn. And so it'll get a little bit confusing for a bit, but you'll do just fine. All right. So now what points of intersection will I connect to create the bottom edge of the triangle that is blue, also known as the blue triangle? Yes, Braden?
Gray and orange.
Gray and orange. All right. So we're going to connect this point right here to this point right here. And over here, we're going to connect this orange and blue intersection with this yellow and orange intersection. Now, I'm going to give you a little tip on this. Especially when you start doing multiple constructions, notice how these blue lines right here that define one edge of the blue triangle, these are parallel. And so you're looking at 3 pairs of parallel lines in each of the triangles that will define the triangles. It's important that you keep these lines parallel, especially when you start making multiple constructions. So if I look at this drawing here with a multiple construction, notice how this line and this line and this line, these 3 lines are all parallel. And that will be the same for the drawing we're currently doing right now. All right. Now at this point we have 2 triangles that are just sort of superimposed on top of each other. So we are going to have to do some erasing in order for us to create that illusion of the interlocking triangles. So let's start at this top right here. Let's see if that's working. It's not working. Okay, now it's working. Okay, so clearly this point corresponds with this point right here, right? Okay, so do I need this yellow line right here? No. So I am not going to erase it right now. I'm just going to put a little X, a very, very light X. I made mine darker so it's easier to see. You got some problems, so please don't go ahead. Okay. Oh, I see the problem. The problem is, notice how this is your point of intersection, and this line is not connecting your points of intersection, and that's why it's not working out. All right, so in my original, I start here, and I go over the blue, and then I go under the blue, and I come to a corner. Grayson? And that pattern will continue. Over the blue, under the blue, come to a corner. Over the blue, under the blue, come to a corner, and then I get to the corner, and voila, I have the recycling symbol. Big brain moment. The recycling thing is just another constructed drawing. All right, so if we are right here, the orange triangle is going to go over the blue triangle. Will this blue line stay? No. So I'm just going to put a little X to let me know I need to erase it. Don't erase it yet because we're going to go through this together. Will this blue line stay or go? That will go. How about this gray segment right here? How about this blue segment here? That's what's going to stay, which means now these two orange segments are going to have to be erased. And how about this gray one? Go. So we're going to follow that pattern of over, under, corner. And so right now, let's go around and put a little X over the lines that are going to have to be erased. And you will start to see a pattern. All right. So I am going to go ahead now, and I'm going to start making this darker. And this is the point in today's lesson where I leave you, and you get to figure it out yourself. Good luck. I'm going to be on the board, and I will make the full drawing. But I'm not going to provide commentary because I would like you to figure it out yourself or follow along with what I am doing. All right, so go for it and good luck.
What you do is make triangles. Find just the straight lines and the triangles.
So for you at home, I'm going to start making. I want that line to be darker, so I'm going to start over again. So I'm going to go to a bigger line weight, and here we go. So I go over to here, and now I duck under the blue. And so I'm going to have one shape that looks basically like this. Now, obviously at home, you're not stuck with a computer. So you'll be able to go ahead and just darken it using your ruler. But I'm stuck with the tools that I have. So I will continue that pattern all the way around the orange circle. So I'll start at a corner, over the blue, then I go under the blue, and now I'm just going to finish this shape, and I get to a corner. So over here, let's get to the corner, over, under. So I'm going to finish this shape because that's the tool that I've been given. And so there we go. So I'm going to make this a little more transparent. Actually, I'm going to redo that one because I don't like this right there. And accuracy matters, and so I should probably set a good example of this. So, oh, I missed again. All right, my goodness. All right, so from this corner, make sure it lines up. Okay, I can live with that. So my finger's jumping on the mouse pad when I let go of the button. Okay, that I can live with. All right. So just so we can see things a little bit better, I'm going to make it a little bit transparent. And now I'll go ahead and do the blue.
After the slide, and then you go this way, and that way.
Boy, is it easier to do this when I'm using two hands instead of one. So today is NFL Draft Day 2025. Who do you think the Broncos are going to take? Last year they took Bo Nix. Obviously, I'm just talking to myself, but feel free to answer my question if you'd like. All right. I'm kind of hoping that they do not take a running back. Either a receiver. Actually, what I really want them to do is get a tight end. So, in future years, you can tell me if I got my wish. And so there we go. Here's your whole drawing. Ta-da!